pick ban for game number 2. I'm really curious here. Wasn't actually told what side LNG have chosen as they have lost. They've gone for the blue side here, as we've just changed overlays completely. That's fun, keeping it different. But notice already, we get the Camille ban from FPX. We get the Lee Sin on top of that. And LNG, they're definitely changing up this time. They're going for the first pick Karma.
Yeah, they're going for the Karma. We've seen this Karma both down in the bot lane to get priority for AD carries, but also in solo lanes combined with Xin Zhao, where you kind of just only play for your jungler. And, you know, only playing for your jungler, seeing Tarzan's name, that is certainly something we could definitely see. On towards the side of FPX, we're just seeing the same picks as before.
Man with a license to kill doesn't have Udyr, though. FPX keep it the same, but LNG... something tells me it's going to be a very different game. I remember things like Xin, I was going to say, are available. Tarzan's like, yep, pair it with the Ezreal. We got some strong picks for LNG.
And I like this very much now, because you can either put that Karma down towards the bottom lane and say, all right, we just have infinite prior with the poke we get out from Ezreal down into this bottom lane, or you can push it out of solo lane and then facilitate Xin Zhao while you have an Ezreal that can just play safely into the center. So both team compositions right now are showing that they want to play for the top side of the map.
Okay, so we leave the top side of the map for now, though, because I want to see what actually gets banned out as a response. FPX before, it was Nuguri on this Akali that's still been left open. We already mentioned Arley's Camille is actually gone. And I'm still wondering, I mean, it's still technically that flex Karma, right? You know, Icon can play in the mid lane, as we've seen. I1D there too. Things like the Lulu still up and available, but usually picked into a comp that has the Cogmore. And since we've already got the Ezreal, might go past that one for now. Let's just see the support bans, and Leona is going to kick us off.
Yeah, I mean, you're not completely right. Lulu's solo lane has been a thing as well, both in the LEC and in LCK, specifically with Xin Zhao as well, where you're just like, all right, we're just going to boost up this champion in the early game. But taking stock at what we have right now, they've actually opted in for the Nautilus now, so no Tom Kench this time around, which could make the situation a bit easier for LNG when we get to this team fight scenario. We saw how much value that pick had for Crisp in just a game earlier, and now they are removing some of that comfort for Doinby. The fact that they get rid of this Kled kind of tells a story how annoying he was in the game we just witnessed.
Now, I don't want to put it out there right now, but actually I'm going to do it anyway. Doinby, we know, has played a lot of Nautilus mid in his career. Even though we haven't seen it for a while, yeah. Let's just hold the thought as to whether there's going to be a Tahm Kench or not, because Doinby can still bring this one out. He doesn't know what he's going up against in the mid lane. Now playing around with the flex options. I mean, Viego also been played by Doinby, so that could just be locked in, and another big power pick. Remembering that Gwen's available, so it could be something like the Viego, something like the Gwen, getting the 2 Season 11 champions that FPX are trying to lock onto.
I mean, Akali's up as well, so there is still a lot of power picks here. Now, I think we will get revealed where this Karma is going. Is it going to be a support with the Ezreal, or is it going to be a solo laner instead? Now, the Akali hover does come through. Don't know if it's going to get locked in yet, and there it is. So you can already see Dogpile-ish coming in. You have the Akali, you have the Xin Zhao to go in. I think it looks a bit awkward right now because there's not too much instantaneous engage on LNG. So I would like to see a champion here who would help them create these engage options.
Shame you don't have something like Set here in this comp as well, right? You don't have, if you were Doinby, if you were Icon, sorry, and you wanted to play something like the Kled, instead you have AP solo laners, so a lot of emphasis on Icon and Arley again. Gilbert, I'll ask about that comp in a second, because it's another fun one from LNG. I just want to round out FPX and find out where everything's going.
Yeah, and I think we will have that rounded up in a second. And okay, so it is actually going to be the Nautilus support. We're not getting the Nautilus mid hysterics, but you know, I think we were both thinking about it. We both kind of wanted to see it, but in the end, it seems to be some standard meta draft coming out from FPX.
So run me through a little bit about what FPX want to do here, because Lucian top, Viego mid. I mean, Viego, excuse me, needs a lot of time. Center as well, we know scales exceptionally well. So this is a very different style of comp from game one.
Yeah, it's... I think it's a bit awkward from both sides, really, from FPX. Yes, you do still have that Nautilus engage, but outside of that, it becomes very skirmish heavy with the vehicle or with the range from Lucian. There's a lot to get caught off guard with. And on the side of LNG, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of their composition either. There's not too much instantaneous engage. It can become very awkward with the champions you have drafted for yourself here. So LNG rely heavily on getting this Xin Zhao ahead early so they can stay ahead of the tempo. Because if they fall behind with the composition they have, the game becomes very hard for them to play.
I mean, LeBlanc, Akali, you know, going in these solo lanes, I think the biggest thing for me is like, if LNG do get ahead and LNG do go for an even game, let's just remember what FPX has drafted and note that we're not going to have a dedicated tank apart from this Nautilus who is going to be getting the resources when we expect the fasting center. The biggest thing for me here in this game is that they can play at so many angles, and those angles, if FPX don't have vision control, is going to be so dangerous for them to walk into brushes, go to these objectives. LNG can just play from shadows and pretty much burst down core carries.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what we're looking for. But you know, it's hard to play from the shadows if you're not the one who was there first to create the shadows with some pink wards and some vision. Which is once again just hammering that point. Early game needs to go well from the side of LNG, and I think that's going to be pivotal. So the jungle matchup we talked about earlier, Hysterics, Tien versus Tarzan, that is what it's going to be about here in the early game. And you can see Tien already acknowledging this by starting out with a small ward to see if they can spot out where Tarzan is going to start his journey in the jungle.
Now, I have one question for Tarzan, though. I want to see the Xin Zhao skin. We've talked about it. He's got a license to kill. LNG put him as James Bond. We had Skyfall. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
It's not Secret Agent Xin Zhao. That's really sad. I feel like if you're LNG as an organization, you know, not Nelson, but shout out to Nelson. Anyone else, please, you know, tell Tarzan here. He's going to be on full vision. You pointed out the ward before, so nice for FPX to pick up the pathing. It's a solo camp start, while it's a leash on the bottom side from LWX and Crisp.
Now, what I will say, though, is with these solo starts, we have seen a lot of jungler use their first smite on towards this. And what is... Oh, they were spotted on a ward down here earlier. Yeah, okay, fair enough. But going back to my main point, you do smite... You do use your first smite very early. And this is very crucial in a meta like this, where the smite damage was up once you finish your jungle item quest. So the jungler that first gets the 900 smite, gets a small lead if you start up an objective, if you go for an early invade, and you just have that 450 extra damage. So something that can come down and be crucial. But as you can already see, Tien actually opted in for the same early smite, so it's probably not going to become too relevant. But it's a small niche thing we see sometimes in this new jungle meta.
And we're going to watch how Tien goes through the jungle, right? You know, the Rumble going through each camp. He's already done the bottom side. Xin Zhao not as fast here as he doesn't have as much of the AoE. Tarzan, of course, here on the Xin Zhao. I mean, heading towards the bottom side. And I like this from FPX because you're heading towards the lane that you know is already in control. It's a 13, 14, 15 to 5 CS lead. Ale already bullied out and Tien over rewards. So Ale's like, I have to run. But he's walked back in.
You may have to flash this one. Shuriken Flame?
He's walked back in, and it's predicted. Electro Harpoon. Tien, that was just beautiful.
Oh, and that just sucks from Ale. Yeah, he gets the TP back now, but he lost so many minions while he got killed. And onto the side of Nuguri, he's just going to get even more scary. The Twilight Shroud not helping out when it's a Rumble just, you know, grilling you, quite honestly.
Yeah. I mean, Ale had a great start to game number 1, but the tides have turned. Tien has made himself known in the top side, burns a flash, picks up first blood, and when the jungle matchups, what we've talked about so extensively, now Tarzan has to catch up. Going towards red buff here, going to contest. There's a level advantage, and as he spots him out, it's control ward down for Tien, so solo laners can come down, but Nuguri hasn't bothered. It's going to be a smite battle, and there is a level advantage on Tarzan, but Tien still gets it, and red buff goes over. Audacious Charge follows up, gets the knock-up. We continue on as Electro Harpoon slows him down, but the heat shield, the scrap shield, excuse me, for Tien keeps him alive.
Yeah, you see the skirmishing potential in Ascensao, why he's so often picked in a meta like this, because there's just not many junglers that actually comes close to his brawling power. But he doesn't have the priority right now. From the mid lane, the move from Doinby will be quite easy, and obviously Nokuri on towards the Lucian, ranged into melee matchups, will almost always have priority, which is why you see so many top laners complain when you start picking a ranged top laner.
Yeah, they're definitely very vocal about that. It's already a huge lead. I mean, Doinby through the mid lane as well. I want to point out that against this LeBlanc, the Viego's doing pretty well. Icon at half health, Doinby at full, has a lot of sustain in his kit, as we know, with the Sovereign's Domination. So, you're looking really good for FPX. I mean, despite the bottom lane, which we expected, right? It's Ezreal Karma versus a Senna Nautilus. You just poke them down until hopefully one of them dies or has to back early. As, oh no, top side again. Shuriken flip, connects, so TN overcommits. Icon comes in, the binding will connect, and Icon just needs to auto-attack a couple of times. Double kill for Icon, and we turn from oh no to oh yeah for LNG.
Yes, that is huge. And why? Specifically because we talked about they need to get ahead in the early game. So the fact you get to have a LeBlanc with 2 kills already is going to be monumental to keep the pressure going. And they thought they could get Ali on this one, but he does some nice dodges in the Twilight Shroud, dodging out on the Flamethrower. And then, as soon as Icon joins the fight, there's nothing Nokuri can do. Yes, he does have the flash, but there's no way you're getting away from that LeBlanc. And to finish it off, Tarzan even picked up the wave in the mid lane. So, as a total team, LNG didn't lose anything on that exchange either.
No, they've evened up the gold. Doesn't matter about TN anymore. And Icon, I mean, 4 stacks on that Dark Seal. So Icon in a great position in this game to carry on the LeBlanc. And now it's going to be even harder for Doinby. Feels like this has to be a roam, a teleport. Get into the face of a battle. And his teleport now gone to get back to this lane. As Icon will just catch the rest of the wave.
Yeah, Icon, you can see he's trying to trim the wave a bit. Want to make sure that he can crash his own wave, but just keep the freeze going. You can see he's actually keeping the minions alive, but I think he'll just be clearing him up here. And what we would like to see now is that Icon, with his little lead he got here in the mid lane. Oh, I need to hold my tongue,
that's a flash. Oh my lord. Solo kill for Nuguri. Just when they're looking up, Nuguri returns again.
And as much as we praised Ale last game, I think the praise must go to Noguri this time around. Yes, he was facilitating in the early game, but right now he's making the most out of those resources he got. Really not making Ale's stay greater than it already was after his first loss.
And that's the thing, right? Nuguri burns the flash there in the engage in last chance. Didn't actually use it when Icon was on top of him. And LNG pull out these plays that you asked to see. We are seeing Dragon go down, of course. LNG pull this one up. Crisp and LWX haven't had much of a laning phase against his bottom lane. But it feels like repeated gank attempts are needed. It feels like Tarzan needs to continuously harass these solo laners so that Icon and Ale can keep snowballing. But if left in the 1v1, Nuguri's going to carry and get that win condition off the board for LNG.
Yeah, 100%. One thing I do feel like, though, is that FPX shouldn't really be entitled to... This is just a replay down at the bottom. Yeah, we can see the replay coming through with the solo kill. But one thing I don't think FPX should be entitled to is getting to take top or bot side camps in the blue side. Because Ezreal Karma all the time has pushed Crisp and LWX into the tower. Now, LeBlanc with 2 kills as well should be able to get the priority against Viego all the time. So I would like to see Tarzan utilize this and kind of abuse the fact that he can just always go for and invade towards the blue side of the map.
Do what we saw in game number 1. LNG were always trading FPX on one side of the map. LNG were there predicting the play to happen. Tarzan's now pretty much swapped sides of the map as he goes for Herald. He picked up the Dragon, he put down some vision, but that's been cleared by FPX. And now going for this Herald, I mean, Tien has the Equalizer. Doinby has the Heartbreaker and Flash. Tarzan knows with how top wave is at the moment, he can't do this, but Icon says, yes, I can. Forces Tien over the wall, almost kills him, but Doinby comes on in. Heartbreaker time, Equalizer back in. I wonder he jumps in to secure the kill, but Doinby is now on LeBlanc. Heart breaks once again, and Tarzan will be jumped on, flashed on, destroyed.
Oh, no.
Audacious charge, reset city. Doinby again. He's breaking so many hearts. He has a wife, you know. A double kill over to Nuguri, and FPX suddenly with 6 kills.
LNG had a lead in the mid lane, decided let's throw it away. They opted into the one play on the map they do not win out on. Your top side is so far behind. You can't just go for a play like that. Icon thought he had enough damage to just one-shot Tien, but he stays alive with the scrap shield, and after that, Icon is just easy resets for Doinby. As soon as he's got access to the possession, there's nothing stopping him from clearing up that fight.
Watch it again. I mean, it was over Herald, and Icon thought he could burst down Tien, and he was so close.
It was just, I just talked about, oh, you win out on the bot side of the map. You should play towards the bot side. And then they start to play towards the top side, where it just becomes so difficult for them to navigate around a skirmish like that. I'm not too sure why they started up that Herald.
And every time Doomby gets a reset, I mean, he should have died there. He should have died before. He doesn't die to Karma. And Nuguri benefits off it as well. Look at the solo laners of FPX here, Guildborg. It's 3-in-1 Lucian with the Gale Force pre-10 minutes and a Cull stacking up. It's almost the mythic here for Doomby as well, as he now holds a gold advantage. If only a little bit. I'm trying to look at the side of my screen. No, it's actually only 100 gold here, but still, Icon picked up the double in the top side. He picked up her bounty and now has 3 components in his inventory. Good start here for FPX, and LNG in a lot of trouble. Guildborg, you mentioned LNG need to play this early game so well. They need these solo laners to get in a good position, but I mean, it's about Nuguri, it's about Doomby, it's about FPX's early game instead.
Yeah, we talked about how we wanted more ease of execution on from the side of LNG, and I'm not quite sure we got it yet. Now, we have seen LNG find some creative ways to get back into the game by punishing a side lane stay, by playing around some of their vision pockets where they just create a skirmish out of nowhere. But with the vision control and the setup that they'll be able to kind of deploy now from the side of FPX, I find it very hard for LNG to get their leverage back into it, at least for the next Drake here. 1 minute until the Cloud Soul spawns. It should be the first Drake for FPX, and they should have the bot lane priority. A TP would come out from Nokari quite soon as well, and Doinby having picked up his first mythic, I just don't see any way for LNG to come in and contest that objective.
Oblivion Orb still not going to be really enough here for Icon versus Doomby. Good burst out of LeBlanc, but yeah, more sustain added in. Good wave clear now as well. We look at the trading coming through as Icon wields Rookie's LeBlanc against Doomby. Versed Rookie so many times, but I mean, actually, he's versed Icon so many times as well. What am I saying? Tien now spotted around the mid wave. He has Equalizer once again. Just remember, Tien no flash burned it in the last trade, so is quite susceptible as Icon's walked on into Doomby. Distortion out. Heartbreaker Equalizer. You know that if Doomby wants to play, Tien is right beside him.
Yeah, and the thing is, if they can still get a team in the common team fight, or a kill in the common team fight, there'll still be a reset for Nuguri to use his ultimate again. So yes, it's burned, but he can easily get it up again if they find the correct pick for it.
And ulti. Look at the cooldown already. I mean, this champion, that ulti is too low for its own good. It's early game.
Yes.
He has himself a Hextech alternator and a blasting wand, and Equalizer's almost up and available again. TP time, though. It's TP for TP, as that's a deep one from FPX. Luckily that it gets cancelled in the end from Doomby as bottom lane dive. Akali in. Ale wants his first kill of this game onto LWX. The execution finally comes through, but it's Iwandi that picks it up. Depth charge onto the bottom lane, and it launches them up. But look at what's happening the rest of the map. Tarzan jumping in on top of Doomby. Tien is there. No ulti available, but Nuguri gets free time with the top lane turret.
I was going to say, yes, you get a kill, but at what cost? Nuguri is getting so much. You already got 2 plates, which is 1 kill in gold already. And he's going to get more. He's going to get the wave. This is going to become such a hard situation for them. He does have the TP as well, but they're not done as LNG. They're looking for more.
Flashed over. Heartbreaker not available for Doomby, but Tien just burns down, gives Doomby a reset. Audacious charge. Wind becomes lightning. Back on him with a spectral maw. And that's what Tien was all about. You've given it to him. He doesn't even need the ultimate. Heartbreaker back into follow-up, and Doomby says, thank you, Tien. You are my hero.
And Icon just, icing on the cake, missing that distortion over the wall. He would probably have gone down to the Equalizer anyway, but does not give them a better look. So even with the Rift Herald in the mid lane, even with the pick towards the bot side of the map, it's still FPX finding leads in this game, Hysterics. And they're going to be picking up their first Drake on towards Summoner's Rift now.
LNG have had some good moments in this series, but Well, let's just call it game one, because game number 2 has been a very different ballpark. Top lane play is all we had, and PP, was cancelled by Tarzan as we look at bottom again.
Yeah, exhaust comes through, but it's not enough to save LWX. Crips still too tanky here in the Nautilus for them to keep on going. They don't have anyone to tank the turret, and one reset was all Doinby needed to get back into this game. You can see they're so close to getting it through. And the knock-up from Tarzan actually came on towards Tien. He's just too fat on that rumble.
Yeah,
he clicked the wrong person.
You know, the love of that play for me was, I think, LWX's ulti, right? Felt like it made a difference too. So we have Tien's damage, helping get the reset for Doinby. Remember, he heals up 8% of his HP on that Sovereign's domination. So he gets the resets, he's back into the fight, and FPX do it again. Look at the gold lead on top of your screen. It's 4,000 for FPX at the 15-minute mark. It's 2 items on the way for the solo laners as well. Nuguri gets the top lane turret so damn low, and they don't get first turret blood, but Nuguri's so close to getting it down. Look at this. Essence Reaver, 155 CS. I mean, this is a world champion top laner for you.
2 items was something we saw LNG struggle with last game to get. 15 minutes into the game, Nuguri has just completed it. I mean, insane, honestly, from the top laner here of FPX. And now you can see they're just going to be putting his pressure into the mid lane. There's no one that can really stop him right now. And look at the damage from that culling.
He has ability, hey, so it doesn't matter. The culling comes through, does half health. Nuguri actually bursted out. It might be a caster curse, but Icon gets auto-attacked down. Equalizer saves his life. Remember, LNG still have good gap close. They try it all on Nuguri, but they can't stay too long.
Yeah, I feel like even though he's this fed, it's still very overforced. If you want to put him in the mid lane, then at least put Viego or your bot lane into the top side as well, so you can just get rid of that turret up towards the top side of the map. As soon as that is done, as soon as you've injected yourself with that gold, then you can start opening up the rest of the map, as all outer turrets are still up for both sides here. So that's going to be the next objective for both teams. You can see LNG want to get the Rift Hell now to help them a little bit with that objective.
But on the bottom side, there's always a trade. It's LWX and Chris this time around pushing it in. I'll be curious as we get back to the wave. Icon's actually down there. He's walked in. Dredgeline disconnects as it is the deception away from Icon. A distortion, excuse me. I knew it started with D, but LWX going to pick up the turret. And that's first turret of the game, despite LWX and Chris not really having a laning phase.
Yeah, I feel like, though, they are missing a lot of this pressure up towards the top side here. You can see stacked waves being lost. They don't have the pressure to facilitate it. So while FPX does get that bot turret, LNG are good at divulging resources up towards the top side of the map, where they're kind of just losing it now. Nuguri can't walk up, and I think they should be able to get this top side of the map. No, they're actually going to back up. They need the reset, but it's very close to fall.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Ale thinking about it, he was being cautious at first. Nuguri now has spotted. He's like, I'm running the hell away from that. But I do like that you bring up, LNG's ability to trade off here in such a devastatingly rough early game. And it's kind of funny that in both early games, it's involved an Akali getting bullied. Nuguri game 1, Ale game number 2, and, it wasn't the Lucian matchup, but, both these top laners have had games where they've shined in the solo lane.
Yeah, you're completely right here, and they're just kind of taking turns. Yeah, as you said yourself, Nuguri took some time for him to get online, but this time around on the Lucian, no waiting around with this. Now, top lane did get taken down from FPX. Herald is in the inventory of Tarzan right now if they want to deploy it in the mid lane, but they decide to hold on to it. It seems like they want to get more out of their investment, but I'm not sure how they're going to find that.
Because what lane, apart from mid right now, is doable? I mean, top is too long. You know that Ale, if he's able to push out the wave, can get it as well. It's pretty much a blow of wind that would take down that top lane turret. And FPX have pressure all across the map. Deep push here onto Ale in this top side inner. And as they back away, FPX have deep vision across the map too. But with Dragon spawning, I think this is an interesting question to come up, because we have no item on light. We have the Manamune there. No mythic item. But more importantly, we're a 2.5 item Lucian who is going to be darting around these fights and pretty much bursting down people. As Icon's sitting behind in the brush, they're sending in abilities. Ward goes in, Icon's out. And it feels like this Dragon for FPX is a no-brainer.
And it also just, you know, gives you a sense of how good the game sense really is from the side of FPX. The fact that they have no vision, but they know there's going to be a chance someone is just waiting around in that bush, face checking or checking with all their abilities before walking into the pit, just tells you how skilled and how coordinated they really are. Now, FPX are getting engaged on towards, but Doinby just disengages this. And I think this is just going to be how it's going to go for the rest of the game a bit here. Hysterics, it's going to be so tough for LNG to deal with the pressure. You can see they're applying a lot of it in the mid lane. After the mid lane, they could put it down towards the bot lane. And they keep getting turrets by just getting priority in one lane, using set pressure to apply pressure to another lane.
That's right. They're pulling LNG thin. It's a really bad therapy session for LNG, wasting the money away. And you know, with the Herald down mid, it finally gets placed here. It breaks down mid, which is good. Gold will go over to Tarzan, I believe, or at least global gold goes over to the partners of LNG. And Ale pushes in top lane, so at least they've got something, and they've started to control the top side of the rift towards this Baron. But FPX, bottom side's all theirs. Mid, once again, with double AD carry, is going to push this down. And FPX getting yet another turret as Tarzan on the flank. He found Chris. This is actually on the Nuguri as well. Equalizer, though. In a choke. That's not good. Ale sent into the back line as Culling comes through. The shielding from center. LNG pulling the trigger and bringing this game back. Ale gets another kill. TN's here, but Doinby has now joined in. Over the wall. Heartbreaker trying to find that kill for the reset. But FPX, they've lost a lot. And although LNG make it an even, almost favorable trade with a true shot barrage, that was beautiful when you're down at a deficit.
Yeah, it really was. They made it an even fight from the side of LNG. They trade members, but outside of the small gold they got from the team fight, they're not really gaining anything. They're not closing in on the lead with FPX. They're just trading even. It's not going to net them any objectives, so they're going to have to pull out the same kind of fight again, but with them coming out ahead, because the map state right now still favors FPX, but I like the engage. When you're a deficit down, trading even in a fight is still definitely something you can be happy about.
I love because they knew that Doinby was not going to teleport in, so LNG kept pressing, right? And when you're this far behind in the game, when you want to actually get the ball rolling to some degree, then you hope that you find the picks here. And you know, Ale will go down in the end, but Tien was close as well. We come back, and Baron is on the menu, boys. But you've got a double 80 carry from FPX, and yeah, the TP you mentioned in the backside. Now the engage onto Crisp, who is the tank of the team at 2K. Icon in as well. Baron secured for FPX, but Tien down thanks to the True Shot Barrage. LWX as well in the back of the pit. Tarzan is Bond 007. The license to kill is not revoked. It gives him a triple. It's the back out from the Baron that was so close, but FPX, they lose 4 to get the purple worm.
Yeah, they get the worm, but I really don't think that is worth it. You don't have any pressure onto the sides right now. The only member with Baron is going to be Crisp, so yes, you do still have some sieging potential, but a lot of gold was just invested onto the carries of LNG here, and Tarzan out of nowhere, 5 kills onto Tinsensao, keeps finding these engages. Honestly speaking, FPX asked them to come into this one, and I think it's very disrespectful with how much AoE damage you get in this point in time. Icon, double distortion, the Akali coming in, and then Doinby not able to find any resets means he's not able to carry the fight.
But Tarzan has sustain of his own, doesn't he? I mean, it's the Gore Drinker, Sterix Gage, Zinzal that is now 5-3. Tarzan, the person we're talking about, that is the leadership role for LNG, the stability, has really brought this game back. It was engaged through mid lane, led by him, and I'm sure it's the voice as well in this team, although, let's be honest, probably not the shot caller here. But I will say, actually, to clarify that, I'm actually not sure who's the shot caller here. More information soon to come. But coming back to what I was saying, this is brilliant from LNG that brought the game back into fruition. It's one Baron buff on the tank with the overdrive. Sorry, what's this stupid item called? We've actually nerfed it to the ground. Guild book, I've lost myself. Anyway, mythic item there, but he's the only one with Baron. And LNG have brought this game back into an almost even setting.
Yeah, you're looking at the atrocious chem tank there, buddy.
Yeah, I know. Struggled
but
a little bit there.
Fight breaking out again, they're not done.
Oh my! Depth charge from Chris. Maybe it's already over. Ale, sugar flip to Nuguri, backline, but Nuguri survives until Icon hits him with a little magical paddle. FPX, they may have won the fight here. It's 3 versus 1 for the trade. And Crisp with the depth charge. Guildborg, that was everything.
That was everything right there. We were talking about LNG looking like they're on the right path to get back into the game. And then Crisp just find an amazing engage, which get them almost a clean ace. They get 3 members, they get the turret, they get the Drake and put themselves onto soul points. And now LNG really on a timer again. And as we are approaching the 25-minute mark, it starts becoming a stressful situation again. Looks like we're going to get into that 30-minute mark as well, Hysterics, if FPX is not able to close out the game either. But let's take a look onto the team fight again. You talked about it. Crisp there finds the auto attack together with the W, and then it's just Icon being locked up into the hook, into LNG having nothing to do in this team fight.
Tarzan zoning away with the equalizer as well. Sorry, TN, excuse me. It's that starting equalizer that did quite a lot of work. A lot of skills in motion in those team fights. It's going to be hard to keep up considering we're watching a LeBlanc and a Kali as well, trying to get to the backline, but LWX survives long enough away to get this ultimate out and give the shielding over to FPX. And now, Gold lead back into the swing. 5k here. You mentioned the Soul coming up in 4 minutes as well. Baron in 2.5 as well. And for FPX, they're able to bash down the inner turret top side. Mid, bottom side as well. And now the map once again under their control. That for LNG, they need to pull off some of these great engages where they create numbers advantage, where they use the assassins to try and bring this game back to the point it was just before.
Yeah, you're right, and it just feels like we keep finding LNG in a situation where they're always 1 item behind. You take a look on towards the inventory right now, and basically all the members of FPX have finished off their 3rd mythic or 3rd item just in general, and that's going to make the situation even harder. The equalizer comes out, looks like they want to start a fight, but it is down on cooldown now, could be back up soon again, and small window for LNG to do something, but I think they're just going to be waiting for Baron to spawn in 2 minutes rather. And see if they can find any leverage in a team fight. See if they can find any picks with the LeBlanc, with potentially a true shot barrage from front, clearing up the last damage that needs to be taken down. But it's going to be a hard situation right now, Hysterics, because with the resets coming through from FPX, they're just going to be pushing out the lanes. They're going to be getting the pressure. With that pressure, they're going to be getting the vision control. And with the vision control, they should be able to set up for a nice Baron objective.
And they've got a nice foundation to build on in that said vision control. Already around the Baron, look at the flanking wards. When you look at Lucian, when you look at Viego, sure, you don't think, Fiora, Camille, great flanker. But you do think of someone who's super fed, who can control the back of fights and get the burst on people like Light. Icon as well, if he resets from distortion. So I think there's a lot of angles for FPX to play coming up here, especially with the 3-item Viego, the 3.5-item Nuguri, who in these last couple of fights has been caught out, bursted down. And it's given LNG a lot more breathing room against the most fed member being in the dirt. I think we also need to note that Dualby also has become the most fed member at this point as well on the 3.5-item Viego. Now with the new Warden's Mail as well, which is going to do quite a lot against the Ezreal and the Xin Zhao.
Yeah, for sure. I think mostly against the Xin Zhao, Ezreal does still have that Q to work with. And speaking of Ezreal himself, half finish off that Frozen Heart, which gives him the Winter's Caress, making sure that anyone in 700 range of him will get slowed, auto attack speed, with 20%. And that's more than Caitlyn range, so that's quite a far attack speed slow. That's going to be pivotal going into the carries when your most fed members are Illusion and they are Viego. But the problem is, can Light be put in a situation where he's going to be dealing enough damage on this Ezreal to carry a fight? Well, we'll find out soon as the fight does erupt.
Yeah, Icon and Arle both TP'd in. FPX pull up. Remember, they have sustained thanks to LWX. Shuriken flip. Not going to be utilized by Arle now. Arle has the Zhonya's Hourglass. He can make devastating plays into the backline, but LNG need to be there. Light and I1D at the front. Chris goes for the engage. There's the equalizer, but it doesn't do anything. That zones them out. Big ulti down, and sure, the timer on the ulti is not that far, but FPX know with it down, the window's there for LNG, so they back away, but LNG inside track towards mid.
I was just about to scream, just push in mid. Right now for LNG, you can push in mid, you can create a longer lane for you to shove off the waves in. The Ocean Soul for FPX is spawning in less than 1 minute, and you want to set yourself up for good vision control around that, but the problem right now is that all of both teams' vision was used to go up towards the Baron side, and it's looking like, ooh, Equalizer not off cooldown yet, so they're not going for anything. But there is not a lot of vision to work with from the side of LNG. Yeah, they have a few pink wards, but the resets has come through from FPX, and they were able to restock them.
Okay, FPX walking into River. It's only Doomby for now. They spotted out Ale. Again, another good shuriken flip to get out of there. Excuse me, FPX do have the inside track on the mid lane, but Icon's behind the wave. Nuguri as well wants to get inside this W as Icon still here. Range for the center. Not quite at that Giga long part yet. So FPX are just going to back away. And once again, we're doing the dance like we did in game number 1. But FPX, they're going to go to the Baron. They know with double AD carry, they can do this and threaten it. You're going to walk in. It's Tarzan. Ulti straight away. Good reaction time. Icon in as well. Tarzan still has to flash away. A lot of damage. Equalizer lines down. And the ulti from center too. Onto Iwandy. Support is down. Culling there. Crisp as well. 2 kills immediately down. And FPX know that LNG wanted to come into their web.
They wanted to come in there. Icon looking for a chain here, but I think he's just going to get run down as well. There should be Soul and Baron for the side of FPX with the man advantage that they have.
What can Light do here with the poke? Chris making sure it's absolutely nothing over the wall. The Baron, Dragon needs to be secured, and it's Ocean Soul over to FPX thanks to the pick. That is such a big advantage that now LNG have to go up against.
Yeah, and you can actually see they don't want to try their luck here. They're actually just moving back. They're not moving on to the Baron just yet, but Doinby does have that teleport, and the rest of the members are FPX. Looking like they want to approach it, but no, it seems like they're just going to clear out their red side camps and then move back into their base. But still, Ocean Soul, great pickup from FPX. Also winning that fight, we see how hard it is for LNG to really navigate it. And FPX kind of forces them to come up here. Tarzan face checks it, does come out with the ultimate, but he's already too chunked out. And the depth charge coming out from Chris, just placing him in a position where Iwandy feels like he needs to be close so he can save him. Kind of baits Iwandy in to just get killed himself, and they're not done again. They keep going.
They're not, but Tarzan going in here might not be good. It's Ocean Soul team for FPX, but the Fountain with the burst now numbers advantage as low health bar here onto Ale. He's buying time. Iwandy going down as well. Doomby getting resets. He's become a Karma as he's going to find another one if he can get Tarzan. Icon back over the wall. The stun doesn't connect, but Doomby should be able to poke him down with his massive sword. As Light Arcane shifts in, he's going to die here, absolutely. Doomby now going to reset as well, but LNG have got some picks of their own. It's still up to Doomby, onto Tarzan. He's found another. Icon knows it's over from here. He backs away, but FPX, they lose more.
Yeah, but still, the fights are very close here. Light doing his best Kramer impression on the Ezreal too, but it can still go either way, Hysterix. That is crazy how close these fights are despite the gold lead and the soul for FPX.
You'll always be welcome as an LPL caster after that comment. Let's have a look at this replay again, because this was tight. You're fighting a team with Ocean Soul.
Yeah, and you know, it's actually crucial how fast they are to pick up T, and as soon as they see him, kind of take a look onto Ale. He does so much damage onto the Akali, and had it not been for him, I'm not sure how they win this fight. Great stopwatch to stop the reset from Doinby 2, and he's able to just flash out of there. But once again, it's at the cost of Iwandy. It seems like he just keeps trying to save his teammates, and it ends up costing him his own life every goddamn time. Extended really team fight comes out, and then Light just feeling himself a bit too much on the Ezreal.
He thought he was the team that had Ocean Soul and that he still had a Karma available as well. Maybe he thought Doomby was exactly that. But yeah, it was a close one. Doomby cleans up in the end. Still didn't really take any damage. But for FPX, you see, even with the Ocean Soul, the burst from Icon, and if Ali's in there as well, it's just a lot to handle, even with this huge buff up. So FPX can't be too careful. They're only 4k gold ahead. They're rounding out items here. And Gilborg, I mean, Baron's still up. Elder coming up in 3 minutes, so I don't feel like this game has a natural resolution path.
It really doesn't feel like it. Usually it's like, all right, we got Soul, let's just keep the lanes pushed out, let's set up the Baron, let's win the fight, we get Baron, okay, let's end the game. But LNG in both games has not let them go to that point. And this time around, it feels like they got more tools to work with in a team fight. This time around, it feels like they're actually able to one-shot some of the members now that Tahm Kench is not part of the equation. But FPX back in what seems like they're habited around this Baron at this point in time, still trying to clear out some of that vision, still trying to get some of that pressure that can allow them to just start it up. And here they go once again. I feel like I've read this story before.
You have 4 or 5 times this game. It's going down quick. Nugri's in the middle of it. LWX takes damage, but he should have the piercing darkness to heal up. Chris doesn't get the engage. Equalizer on the back end. They want to burn down Baron, and FPX are burning themselves. The ultimate comes through. Baron's still low. Tien's down. No smite. So of course Tarzan steals it away. King of the jungle. No George here today, as James Bond wants one final member, and that's on Doomby. 1v4. How broken is he? Well, not enough here, as LNG wipe him clean.
And Hysterics, I think we're going to be going to a game 5 or game 3 here with the minion wave they can pick up, with the Baron buff, with the 30-second death timers of FPX. It looks like they have thrown their lead with an Ocean Soul, with the priority and the gold lead, and the vision around the Baron. LNG still managed to come out on top, and it seems like they're going to be ending this game here on this push.
Forget the Ocean Soul. I think it was I Will Dominate who tweeted out, it doesn't mean the game end anymore. It means a game 3 apparently as LNG fight back, and this series goes the distance.
And I kind of feel like Akali once again, and Tarzan of course on the Xin Zhao, kind of looked a bit broken when the members were just caught in between that pit. Really easy for them to just kind of dissect the members they wanted and pick up the fight.
It feels like a game 5, doesn't it? After what we've seen in this series, it feels like a game
really
number 5. I'm glad, because for LNG, you know, a lot of people tuning in would have watched them in spring and thought, there's no way they match up to FPX. But this is why LNG are a 3-0 team. They've been a team that have been able to come together and really play out some of these team fights. We saw with a very different draft, and one that arguably was, you know, still quite difficult to execute. Through the side lanes, through Arley and Icon in these team fights, were able to pick off some of those creative angles. And it's impressive to see that LNG once again have pulled another rabbit out of the hat. And however this series ends, I mean, LNG still looking like a top team from what we've seen in the series of play.
But it's still, I can't help, and I'm a fan of LNG, but I still can't help but feel they kind of got away with daylight robbery there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a tiny bit, because if you take a look at throughout that entire game, I'm pretty sure the gold lead was in favor for FPX, and I can't wait when we get to see the set gold lead outside of that, from that whole game, to just kind of see the turning point of this was the team fight. LNG just won out of nowhere. And once again, Akali in lane was shut down like it was with Nugri in the previous game. They get a few items, they get put into a team fight scenario, and they're just able to clean it up so bad. I feel like not having that Tahm Kench this time around for the side of FPX actually hurt them in the long run, despite Chris having pulled so many good hooks onto the Nautilus.
And so many good depth charges as well. But you're right, the Tahm Kench here in this comp, you know, maybe would have done a little bit better, but around that Baron, they got so low, and it feels like for FPX, pulling the trigger onto the Baron when you don't have the setup, or when LNG are nearby ready to contest, just wasn't the right move at the end of the day. You have a lot of squishy people on this comp too, apart from Chris. It's another problem with how FPX set up this game number 2. So, yeah, daylight robbery's there, but FPX, you know, kind of left the keys in the till towards the end of that game.
Yeah, you're right.
A lot of elements.
That's a really good analogy.
It's interesting, right? Because look, I mean, okay, first of all, gold trap, very LPL-esque. It's nothing like it. There's no other league that has graphs like this, and maybe North America, but the damage coming through, I mean, it says it all, right? Tarzan did more than Icon, more than Arley, almost as much as Light. I mean, this man is still just, he's shaping up to be one of the best junglers in the LPL.
Oh, I mean, he really is. And I think Light also got, he kind of fell under the radar for a lot of time, but you can see the poke he was able to dish out in the team fight. I'm pretty sure all of Arley's damage just came around the late game as well. Don't think there was much to be had in the early game. But I still, nice for them to pick up that last team fight. Nice for them to find the engage. But I still feel like they really need to clean up their early game to have a good shot. Because you said it yourself, FPX kind of left the keys in the door. This was FPX game to lose. This was FPX who was having the lead the entirety of that game. And then, of course, you gotta credit LNG for finding the punishes that they did, finding the engages where it worked out for them. But they still need to come up with a better early game in game 3 to be set up for success. Because this time around, it wasn't as controlled. And if they're saying that was controlled gameplay, I feel like they're lying.
Yeah, they definitely are. And you and I are going to have a massive talk about drafts going into game 3, I feel like. What we've seen so far has been so much fun to talk through. Look at the different team compositions that both these teams have drafted. But hey, this is why I was, being a little bit rude to LCK before. Why would you watch that when you have a game 3 coming up? LNG versus FPX delivers. We're going to go on a short break, and when we return, the final game of the night between these two teams.